Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Sai Satcharitra, an Insight. Episode 116. My humble prostrations at the lotus feet of our Sadguru Sai. By the divine grace of Sai, an attempt has been made to translate the gist of the divine discourse of Sri Ramanathan Brother telecasted in Sai TV. This is purely done to share the glory of Sai and his divine teachings with more insight to the aspirants. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Devotees, in the previous episode, we listened to the hot discussion that took place among Hemat Panji and Sri Muktaram on the topic if the poisonous creatures had to be killed at sight. They both had lengthy arguments and began to defend themselves without hearing the entirety of what the other person is saying, and as usual, it concluded without reaching to any decision. Hemat Panji argued for killing the venomous creatures when encountered, while Sri Muktaram debated that God exists in all creatures so they should not be harmed. Sri Sainath Maharaj is never in favor of arguments, as that would not do good to anyone. Disagreement arises owing to ego and strong body consciousness. And that night was not a peaceful one for either of them. They were exhausted, and Sri Muktaram went downstairs angrily while Hemat Panji retired to bed in the Vada. Next day, when they went to Dwarakamai for Sri Sai's darshan, Sai asked, "What happened yesterday in the Vada? What was the discussion about?" Immediately, Hemat Panji and Sri Muktaram narrated all that happened the previous night in the Vada and asked Sri Sainath Maharaj to throw some light on this topic and guide them the right path to follow. Sri Sai spoke thus: God is omnipresent, as he exists in everything, be it a serpent or a scorpion. Hence, we should love all the beings. Sri Sai advises us to not exhibit our valor by killing those poor creatures. It is better to leave them freely because no creature can harm anyone until the God ordains. They can function only as per the command of God. So, these assertions of Sri Sainath were like a judgment to the argument that took place between Sri Muktaram and Hemat Panji. This verdict of Sri Sainath was acceptable by Hemat Panji, and he realized that his opinion was not appropriate, and the argument of Sri Muktaram seems to be apt as it coincides with Sri Sainath Maharaj's outlook. In the previous episode, I mentioned that Sri Muktaram was a yogi himself. Let us listen to some details about him now. Sri Muktaram came to Shirdi during the year 1911 and became an ardent devotee of Sri Sainath Maharaj. Sri Muktaram was residing close to Kopargaon and would frequently visit Shirdi and leave, whereas devotees like Hemat Panji would lodge in the Vadas at Shirdi for some days as they came from far off places like Mumbai. This was one of the reasons why Hemat Panji got upset at Sri Muktaram's statement. Hemat Panji had the notion that Only those who reside in the Vadas for few days at Shirdi can understand the challenges they might encounter and can decide upon these issues, as they will be subject to fear and discomforts if these venomous creatures are not killed at sight. With this being the case, how can people like Sri Muktaram, who only visit for few hours on some days and hardly spend nights, can suggest a way to handle these dangerous creatures? These thoughts gave rise to arguments. Though Sri Muktaram came to Shirdi only during 1911, he was deeply devoted to Baba and wished to stay with Baba always. Devotees, please pay your full attention. We must follow the principles of the Guru, but we should never try to imitate them. We should not even attempt such actions, as this will lead to adverse results. Sri Muktaram would dress up like Sri Sainath Maharaj. Yes, only two devotees were given this special privilege and permission to wear an attire that was exactly as that of Sri Sainath. One was Sri Muktaram and the other was Abdul Baba. They both dressed up in long kafnis, and a headgear known as sirvesh in Marathi was worn by them. At times, when we surf the internet for Sri Sainath's pictures, we come across some photographs which looks very similar to that of Sri Sainath Maharaj, but they would be pictures of Abdul Baba or Sri Muktara. There are instances wherein the pictures of Abdul Baba and Sri Muktaram have been misconstrued as original picture of Sri Sainath Maharaj and have been circulated among devotees, as all the three wore similar clothes and the pictures are also old black and white photographs and the features may not be very clear. So this leads to misconceptions. We might not find many of Sri Muktaram's photos, as his arrival to Shirdi was only towards the last 7 years of Sri Sainath's period, that is 1911 to 1918. Sri Muktaram's life was filled with unique incidents. Sri Sai Maharaj attained Mahasamadhi on 15/10/1918, and Sri Muktaram was grieving over Sri Sainath's departure and could not bear the absence of Sri Sai. So, around 7 or 8 days after Sainath's Mahasamadhi, around 23rd of October, he went and sat on Sri Sainath's asan at Dwarakamai. Other devotees of Sri Sainath could not tolerate this sight and looked at him with hatred. This was not acceptable by the devotees because Sri Sainath Maharaj has never designated any of his devotees as his successor. Some were of the views that Sri Sainath would have considered Sri Upasani Maharaj as his disciple, for the reason that once Sri Sai had asserted openly to Sri Upasani Maharaj that you stay here for 4 years. At the end of it, you will attain God realization. And I have given you a golden plate, as you are pure as gold. Such declarations were made by Sri Sainath Maharaj only to Sri Upasani Maharaj. But it is very unfortunate that Sri Upasani Maharaj could not complete these 4 years and left Shirdi before the tenure ended. So, it is evident that none was delegated by Sri Sainath as his successor, and at this juncture, Sri Muktaram went and sat on the gadi, that is the small seat on which Sri Sainath sat, placing his hand on the wooden railing, just like how Sri Sai would sit. This seat of Baba was placed at the right side to the steps that leads to the Sanctum Sanctorum of Dwarakamai, where now stands a magnificent portrait of Sri Sainath Maharaj. This behavior of Sri Muktaram kindled the anger of all the devotees. They were agitated. So few went and bombarded him with questions such as, "What do you think of yourself? Who permitted you to sit on Sri Sainath's seat? You have polluted Sri Sai's asan by sitting on that." Sri Muktaram then described his actions to some of the close devotees. He said, "I am sick to death. I am not interested to outlive Sri Sainath Maharaj. I want to leave this body. I cannot survive here without Sri Sai. Who else can understand my plight and heed to my request other than Dwarakamai? Hence, I came here and sat on this holy seat of Sri Sainath to submit my pleas." Looks like Dwarakamai had granted Sri Muktaram's prayers. By January 1919, Sri Muktaram left his body. Though he lived the life of a yogi, his body endured some pains for few months. The passing away of Sri Muktaram in a short span of 2 months after the above incident substantiated his statement that he wants to leave his body and merge at the lotus feet of his Guru Sri Sainath Maharaj. Devotees, as we ponder deeply over Shirdi and the divine incarnation Sri Sainath, we can realize the fact that whenever the Supreme Incarnation has decided to depart from their assumed body, then all those pure souls who came to earth along with the Supreme Soul to play their part in this journey will also leave their body. These souls are termed as Parivara Devatas, that is, semi divine beings. They will not wish to continue their life on earth, instead, will quit their body as early as possible. They might even leave before the Master departs or sometimes immediately after the Master's Mahasamadhi. Those semi divine souls would leave some traces for simple souls like us to understand their purpose of arrival, through which divine sport and the instance that we heard about Sri Muktaram's is one such evidence. Devotees might recall another ardent devotee of Sri Sai by name Sri Nanavali. He left his body exactly 13 days after the Mahasamadhi of Sri Sainath. He refused to even eat a grain of food after the departure of his master and sacrificed his life in his memory. Lord Sri Sainath attained Mahasamadhi on 15/10/1918 and Nanavali left his body on 28/10/1918. Likewise, exactly within a month after Sri Sainath's Mahasamadhi, that is on 15/11/1918, another fervent devotee by named Kushal Chand passed away. Now let us observe the event that took place 1 month before Sri Sainath's Mahasamadhi. A tiger that was suffering from severe pain was brought in the presence of Sri Sai by 3 Dervishis. The animal was indeed a blessed one as it died at the feet of Sri Sainath. So, all of those mentioned above are considered as Parivara Devatas, as they were fortunate enough to leave their body either just before or immediately after Sri Sainath's Mahasamadhi. And Sri Muktaram also falls in the same classification, hence, due reverence must be given to him by Sri Sai devotees. One might wonder if this notion is right. Here I am giving you instances quoted in scriptures. When Lord Krishna descended on earth, all the yogis and saints also arrived in earth as gopikas. Similarly, when the divinity took the incarnation as Lord Rama, the yogis took the form of monkeys. And as soon as the purpose of the incarnation is attained, immediately the Lord would depart from the earth, and so the Parivara Devatas would also. All these instances give us a validation that Sri Muktaram must have attained liberation as he is one among those semi divine beings. Devotees, you can find his samadhi at the Lendi Bog in Shiradi, close to the horse Shyamkarna's samadhi. I humbly request all the listeners to visit Sri Muktaram Samadhi, which is just next to Sai devotee Amidas Bhavani Mehta's Samadhi. These Samadhi shrines are filled with subtle divine energies. All of us might not be able to perceive those vibrations, as that depends on the intensity of faith and devotion. But mere visit to these holy shrines will certainly bestow greater benefits and grace upon all. So, with this note, we are concluding the 22nd chapter of Sri Sai Satcharitra here, and will be continuing with the 23rd chapter, which is skillfully narrated in 205 poetic verses by Sri Hemat Panji under the heading The Spectacle of the Leela of Guni and Disciple. Hemat Panji has adopted his regular style by introducing this chapter with a philosophy of life on Karta and Bhokta. Karta means the doer, and Bhokta is termed as the enjoyer. No person is a master of anything, but under the influence of different modes of material nature, a person feels, I am master, I am enjoyer. This attitude will cause bondage and ultimately result in miseries. So, how to get relieved from this bondage and miseries? When we perform a righteous action, it grants merits. Similarly, when we do an unjust act, we accumulate sins. So, both good and bad actions ultimately lead to rebirth. Now, obviously, the listeners might raise a question. Then how we are to get rid of this cycle of life and death? Hemat Panji has specified the solution to this issue. He emphasizes on Nishkamya Karma, which means to perform an action without any expectations. Is this feasible? Yes, it can be done when we surpass Karta and Bhokta states and only remain as a witness to the action, that is, a Sakshi. At this state, when we perform the actions, we will not identify ourselves as a doer or enjoyer, as we are not identifying ourselves with the body. So, when we perform our actions with an attitude of Nishkamya Karma, it means we are in Suddha Sattva platform, wherein we will continuously meditate upon the Supreme Personality and will see God in every being, says Hemat Panji. Next, Hemat Panji has narrated in brief one of the most enthralling Leelas of Sri Sainath Maharaj. This Leela is narrated in just 8 Marathi OVs by him. It describes the meeting of an aspirant on yoga with Sri Sainath and his convictions about eating onions, and how Sri Sai Maharaj clarified his doubts and bestowed his grace are all explained in these OVs. I guess Hemat Panji might not have got more information about this yoga seeker, hence, he could not add details such as his name or other specifics in Sri Sai Satcharitra. But in the later years, many details were shared by numerous Sai devotees in Sri Sai Leela magazine, and those details are compiled and presented through these episodes to all the devotees to have more insight on this divine sport and various other miracles that we read in Sri Sai Satcharitra. This mind-boggling miracle took place on 22nd February 1914. Let me give you gist of this miracle. A sadhak of yoga once came along with Nana Sahib Chandorkar to Shirdi and stepped inside Dwarakamai. He has studied the Yoga Shastra of Patanjali and other yoga scriptures, but unfortunately, he could not experience Samadhi even for a moment, and he has heard that Baba is the Lord of Yoga. Hence, he accompanied Nana Sahib Chandorkar to seek guidance from Baba. As soon as they entered Dwarakamai, Baba transpired an astounding Leela. What was that? And what guidance did he get from Baba? What are we to learn from this Leela? We shall dive deep into this sport of Sri Sainath and gather more pearls of wisdom in the coming episodes. Bow to Sri Sai. Peace be to all. Om Sai Ram.